baby.
Up, everybody? What's good? What's good? It's your boy, Mark and MUFC fan. You know what it is, guys. It's chilling. It's one of those mornings where we got lots to discuss, but it's match day, guys. So let's keep it a little bit, fun, interesting, not over the top. Let's do it nice. Let's do it right. I got my buddy Temba in the building. We're just going to have a little chill conversation, guys. It's a big day. People are worried. Some people are scared. Some people, like me, we're a little bit optimistic and confident. But you know how it goes, guys. It's just is what it is. So let's get Temba in the building. Big up, my brother. Hope you're well. Big up to all of you guys in the chat. Big up to James. Bond Battle of the Mud, he says. Manu at Spud's level. Well, he looks like an Arsenal fan. So, you know what I mean? He's happy. He escaped a draw. Big up to you, James Bond. What's good, my brother? Big up to you. Man, you always calling me something. 35 cents, 0 cent. Now it's 35 cent Malasia. Big up, Manchester Fred. Hope you're good. What's good, Temba?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm fine. Man. How you doing? Man? I'm fine.
Chilling, bro. I have one interesting topic I want to bring to the table, but, I don't know how you guys are feeling. It's a little bit weird. It's some new information that's coming. Good morning to you guys. Good big up to you, GB, as well, my brother. So since you guys are here, big up to Jim Watkins in the building. I'm going to go with this before we start talking about United, because I think this is interesting, and it might not affect us now, but it might be something interesting to consider going forward into the next transfer window. Big up to James Bond, my Caribbean brother. Big up to you, bro. So, guys, there's some interesting news coming on right now where there's some talk that Manchester United and the rest of the Premier League and clubs across Europe are going to change the way the transfer window operates. It's going to change. It might be opening 2 weeks earlier and closing 2 weeks earlier as well. That means before the first game of any league kicks off, the window will be closed. How does that affect transfers? Some leagues finish earlier, some leagues finish later. How is that going to affect the thing? Well, let's get into this topic, right? And the proposed changes to end the 2025 summer transfer window for football clubs in Europe top leagues before their first game of each league season aims to address several issues affecting integrity and performance of teams. Here's a detailed information on what I think you guys need to pay attention to. So the first key point is stabilizing team dynamics before the start of the season. Currently, the transfer windows often remains open to after league changes the seasons have started. This creates an instability within squads, as current players can be bought or sold during the initial weeks of the campaign. And by closing the transfer window before the first match, clubs would have completed their, recruitment, their planning, allowing managers to work with a settled squad from the outset. This ensures better cohesion as teams can focus solely on performance and tactical preparation without the uncertainty of a potential player exit or arrival. You know what I mean? Number 2 is protecting the competitive balance between the clubs. Allowing transfers to occur once a season has begun can disrupt the competitive balance of a league. Clubs that are financially stronger can make significant transfers in the first few weeks, potentially altering the course of the competition. Closing the window before the season starts would prevent wealthier clubs from strengthening their squads based on early season performances, thereby promoting a fairer playing field for all teams. This creates a more level competition where all teams start off with fixed together roster, enhancing the integrity of the league, guys. You know what I mean? Reducing player distractions is another point that they're trying to bring up. Says that the ongoing transfer market during the initial weeks of the season could often distract players, especially those who are subject to transfer speculation. The players can become unsettled, affecting their focus and commitment on the pitch. By ending the window earlier, players can fully commit to their club without the distraction of potential moves hanging over them. This also improves the player morale and reduces risk of underperformance due to off-field uncertainties. You know what I mean? Improving tactical and strategic planning for managers. With the transfer window shutting before the first game, managers can finalize their tactical systems and make long-term plans without worrying about losing key players or adjusting their lineups to accommodate new signings after the season begins. This gives managers a clarity and confidence in their squad's composition, allowing them to implement strategies more effectively from the very first match. It also reduces the pressure on managers to make quick decisions about integrating new players into their systems mid-season. 5. Aligning the transfer windows across European leagues. One of the key challenges in European football has been the lack of synchronization in the transfer windows across the leagues. While some of the leagues close their windows earlier, others remain open longer, allowing clubs from different countries to buy and sell players after the season has begun. The proposal to end the 25 transfer window before each league's first game would create a uniform timeline across Europe's top leagues. This would prevent clubs from losing key players to foreign teams after their domestic campaign has begun, thus maintaining roster consistency throughout the season. Guys, there are 4 more points. Let me just get into that and then we'll react to them, guys. You guys could let me know what you think. Yes, Zick, I'll drop you the link, bro. 1 sec. Big up to you. There's the link. If you're gonna jump in, Zick, I'll bring you up to the screen shortly. Now, they encouraging more thoughtful and strategic transfers. An earlier deadline would encourage clubs to be more thoughtful and strategic in their transfer dealings, instead of panic buying based on early season results or injuries. Clubs would be forced to plan and execute their transfers well in advance. This could lead to more calculated signings, as clubs would need to focus on long-term squad building rather than reactive transfers. It may also promote greater investment in youth development, as clubs would have to rely on their existing squads more, knowing they can't rely on late window signings. And this, guys, is really interesting and a beneficial scenario for United because, as you know, United heavily uses their youth team. Now, reducing fixture congestion and focus on football. Closing the transfer window before the season begins would reduce the media frenzy and fan speculation that often surrounds transfers once competitive fixtures start. This would allow the focus to shift entirely to football being played on the pitch, enhancing the fan experience. Players and clubs would also face fewer distractions, allowing them to focus on the busy schedule of matches without the backdrop of transfer rumors. And in conclusion, guys, the decision to end the transfer window before the start of each European League's first game is a forward-thinking move aimed at improving overall football integrity. It will stabilize squads, reduce distractions for players, protect competitive balance, and allow the better long-term planning by clubs. By closing the window earlier, the focus can remain squarely on football performance, making the game more enjoyable for players, managers, and fans alike. What are your thoughts on that, guys? I'm going to bring Zick in, bring in Olmo as well. We'll talk about that, guys. You know what I mean? Big up to you in the chat. Let me see what you guys are saying. Big up to Zick. Well, Zick in the chat. Big up to Never Miss Rob, Jim Watkins. Big up to Stephanie Griffith. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment, guys. It's really important. It helps the channel grow immensely. Early likes spread the channel around, gives us a lot of more opportunities to gain more viewers. And you guys smash the likes. Helps each and every time, guys, because it shares to one viewer every time you smash a like. So thank you. Big up to Matt Advance. Your expectations from today. We'll discuss that in a little bit. Let me hear your thoughts on this, what we were just talking about, the new transfer window being closed early. Big up to you. Big up to Football Fan Zone. They did this before, and it didn't work because all the other leagues' windows, well, that's why they're changing it, Tembo. You know what I mean? Big up to Shea Arsenal fan in the building. Big up to Evan Ferguson. So going back to something they tried before and didn't work before sounds great. Bro, what can I say? Maybe they have a more detailed plan to make things more streamlined, maybe start some of the leagues at a closer time to each other. So, they all start at the same time and not at staggered stages, weeks apart. Maybe that might be the situation. Big up to David Moyes. We done this a few years ago and immediately scrapped it following year because other European clubs could still buy our players. Well, the problem is it's across Europe. It's not just the Premier League. It's every single league in Europe that are making this agreement. So maybe back then it was just the English Premier League, but now it's going to be all the clubs across Europe. They're going to probably change the start times of some leagues from 2025-26 season to accommodate this. So let's see how it goes. I know it happened before, but it wasn't with across the board for all clubs. So let's hear your thoughts on the possibility of if it could work, if all leagues implement this at the same time. Guys, what are your thoughts? I'll go to Zik first, Temba. Then I'll go to Think because you're my co-host.
Go on. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, bro. Big up.
Good. I see a lot of things in the chat. We tried this before. I'm against it only because I like the idea of it going down to the end of August. I like the chaos, deadline day. Yeah, you do want your squad to be settled, but I think deadline day and all that type of stuff started becoming things to the fans. You know what I'm saying? So it's like we like to see. I don't know if you guys remember a couple years ago. It's not United related, but Auden Wingy, he was trying to leave. I can't remember who he was leaving, but he was outside Crystal Palace. And Sky Sports News saw him, and he rolled down his window, and his move got completely scrapped. Like, that's the things we live for, man. Like, we live for those moments. To be fair, the last couple of deadline days have been dead. Like, they've not been great.
True.
You know what I'm saying? But it'd be great to kind of keep it. But obviously, they've made the decision. I'm sure, like you said before, bro, like they're gonna make sure the leagues probably start kind of together. Everything ends at the same time, so that nobody's disrupted going into their season. I think it's an interesting thing to tackle at this particular moment, not to like change the subject, but it's an interesting thing to tackle when I think the more important thing to tackle is the amount of games that's being played and players getting injured. It's interesting. Rodri was talking about going on strike and now he's out for the season, So, I think it's interesting how they tackled this, but they're not willing to tackle maybe the bigger problem.
Interesting, bro. I totally agree there. Omo, what are you saying, brother? What are you saying?
Yeah, I went to go look at it, and it said that the league is La Liga, Serie A, Bundesliga, Liga, and EPL. To me, it makes no sense because, like, you're not gonna use preseason to judge. Preseason never there to judge. To me, preseason is just like, for the fans, have fun outside the country. That's what preseason is there for. I think people ain't training preseason. So when the match start, you can know like, you had done good in preseason, but now that the league has started, you're not as good as I thought you are. I think just imagine if we would not have gotten Casemiro. It was not for what happened. We make signings once the league start. I think I don't know who we signed last year. I can't remember right now. But once the league start, that's when we make signings. We won't get Ugarte this year. Was it Ugarte? I'm not sure. Somebody correct me. But I know Ugarte was our last signing.
When the league started.
Yeah, so like to me, this don't make sense. To me, for incoming, it doesn't make sense. Outgoing, I don't understand because you're already leaving. Cool, but incoming, it doesn't make sense. So now look at a team like Chelsea. They're in a good spot because they're just gonna buy everybody and just like well, it is what it is. The rest could go out. But for a team like us and other team in the league, we try to be more like tactical with our sign. Like, okay, I need a left back. Okay, let me scout left back. Make sure this is the right one. Try to get the perfect deal. And like now you're telling us to rush it. It's of us pay 50. We pay 50 million for a guy. Now imagine we paying 80 because we now have to rush it for deadline day. We have to rush it while we stood going on deals. Like these just a waste of money. Like money agents or agents. This is for agents. Footballing agents will love this. Player agents, they will love this because they're like, you don't get now, deadline day coming up. Like that's how I see it. It's for the agents.
Probably. Temba, what are you saying?
Yeah, big up. Like I said to you, I said they've tried this thing before because, like somebody's on the chat there. If this was being done by all the club, it will, all the leagues, it will make sense. But it says the Premier League, not saying every, like the Premier League alone. So basically, this has to just be, it has to be done just by only the Premier League team. And like almost says, guys, man, agents are going to love it. They are going to love it. Not just even agents. Some clubs will love it because just imagine you guys, a club in Premiership wants a player from the La Liga or Serie A. They want to top the money because they can see your performances on the pitch. They can see, okay, these guys are desperate for these players. So they would like take advantage of it. And that was why I said they've tried it before. Other European teams took advantage of it because they can see your team's needs players. Even like Zeke said, it mentioned something about Rodri. There was a season whereby, if I'm not mistaken, I think against Reading, Chelsea was playing against Reading. They lost Czech in that game. They lost Kudicini in that game. They had to go, like, I think they give them a 1 week to just go into the market and get a goalkeeper. That was when they went and get Ilario. So all these things, they've tried it before. It will not work. It will only make sense if all the leagues, all the top 5 leagues in the world comes together and say, okay, wait, this is what we are going to do. Because we see window end in the Premiership. Then you have in Turkish league, they are still able to sign players.
Well, Temba, are talking about all the leagues. It's not just
no, it's the Premiership.
No, I think it's
That's
just
hold on, guys.
I
think we've started off on the wrong foot. What I'm talking about is Europe-wide. It's not just the Premier League. It's every league.
Are you sure, man?
Listen.
Because I saw the article as well.
I read the thing this morning twice, bro, and I wrote down all this information from what I read. I took out excerpts from it, and I made a little script to talk to y'all about it this morning. So what it says is that all leagues in Europe going to make this shift. Right? So all the leagues, what they're trying to do is start all the leagues at the same time so that they kind of get a comparable ratio of when each league will start and finish. And maybe that will help them regularize the number of games that each league will face. You know, that kind of way?
Mark, it's the big 5.
I'm not too sure.
It's the big 5. It's La Liga, Serie A, Bundesliga, Liga A, and Premier League. It's all those 5 leagues by themselves. And that's about it.
Okay.
So that makes sense, though.
It does make sense. Yeah,
for them 5 leagues to do it, because that's where the biggest threats come from for any one of those leagues. If all 5 do it,
see.
You know what I mean? It's not like a team from outside those 5 could afford some of the players in the top 5 teams.
I think Eredivisie was not joining this at all. I know this type of, they're stubborn. They're not joining this.
I think eventually you'll have to, because the reality becomes is that the Eredivisie kind of lives on the idea that they'll be able to get 1 or 2 players, like they wanted Christian Eriksen this season. Ajax wanted Christian Eriksen for I think it was like 5 mil or something like that. And they're going to have to get along with that, because then their league might die based on the fact that they can't get players after these other leagues close their transfer doors. So they'll have to get on board eventually. Maybe not this year, but eventually they'll have to be like, you know what, in order to make it make sense, we're going to have to get on board with that, because if we don't, we're not going to be able to get those type of deals over the line. Quickly, I wanted to go back to something you said about getting deals over the line. I think as United supporters for the last, I don't know, maybe 10 years, since Moyes came in, we've been used to late deadline deals. I remember even under Fergie, Berbatov came in literally deadline day, 32.5 or 32.8 million, I think it was, something like that. You look back at those times and they frustrate me, because I think, like, why did we get this done early in the summer so we're ready to go in preseason? I think that's something, if you go on like X or whatever, that's usually what most of us are complaining about, how long it takes these deals to get over the line, how long it takes the club to announce things. And I think at this point, it's a job for Ineos, obviously, to now get these deals done in a timely fashion, so then we can go on preseason with all our transfer dealings done going into the season. I think it's a benefit for teams like us. Maybe less so for teams maybe like City. Well, they might get a ban from the transfer window anyway, hopefully. But it's probably a benefit for us, because I can't remember the last time we went to a season where all of our signings were done. They all went on preseason tour, and we got a chance to actually gel and have a plan going into the coming Premier League season. So hopefully that puts a fire under the in the belly of some of our executives, and they, we start planning and getting things done in like June and in July, early July. So the manager isn't still looking for a striker in August.
Yeah, and I agree with that because for me, it also is a bonus for the youngsters. And United have a real class crop of youngsters coming in the next 18 months. So for me, it's like it might help us pay a little more attention to development of the youth and integration, go less into transfers. Now, I do like the whole drama of purchasing players from various clubs last minute, getting a player like, I want us to go and take Rodrigo from Temba, take Adagula, give him the Dalo if you want 100 mil, whole that. You know what I mean? But at the same time, when I look at it now, and I watch the youth teams a lot every week, right? They play 2 games. I watch each game every week.
Yeah.
And that's both under 21s and under 18s. And for me, it's interesting because all these guys go into an academy all their life for that one goal to play for this club or play football professionally. And they deserve a chance. You know what I mean? So maybe it would help focus other clubs on using their academies. And it might promote less sales in general, but it might promote more sales for the young players. Because then other clubs might rather take a risk on a young player than spend 50 mil for a player that possibly a little bit better or just a year more experience. You know what I mean? So it might bode well in those instances. But if all the teams though agree, or these leagues, the top 5, then I could understand Adrian Monk and what, James Bond is saying and what Gabriel, what Gabriel is saying. Sorry, Gabriel, bro. You know what I mean? They tried it before and it didn't really work. Many leagues, got players from us after our window closed. It was kind of bad for the Premier League. But if all top 5 leagues do it, then I think it makes sense. Because then now it kind of streamlines sales. Clubs wouldn't really have the wiggle room to delay sales demand over the top prices because they only have a short time. And all leagues open, so it kind of open up the range on where you could shop, how you could shop, the competition or the shop. You know what I mean? Because other teams now could compete for those players as well. So I kind of think it might be interesting, but only if all the teams agree.
I think it might make January's interesting now too. I think the January transfer window will become huge all of a sudden because, if you don't get your business done and then you go into a season, you start to get your injuries, then you might be seeing big prices spent in January, 50 million here, so and so on, like players because you just, August ends quickly, and then now, like look at Rodri's situation now. City will definitely dip into the transfer market in January to bring in like not even a player in his position, but just somebody to just have a body in there. Because even yet watching them yesterday, you could tell where they fell a little bit short with having him controlling things and recycling the ball. And so, yeah, I think it's an interesting idea because, like I said, January transfer window might be the real transfer window now if you close it early in August.
100%. Yo, Omo, what's your thoughts on this though? Because if all the leagues cooperate on this, right? You think it might?
Yeah, I already said it. This is good for the agents. This benefits the agents, the footballing agents. They're gonna milk this. They're gonna milk this because like you gotta sign my players right now. You know, Wayne. You don't sign my player right now, I could go to another club.
Well, one thing I would say is this: like if this is going to be top 5 team league in the world, then probably it does make a little sense, honestly. Because I was actually talking in the sense of whereby I was thinking it's just the Premiership, but if it's the top 5 league in the world, then I think it makes sense. And like you said, Zeke, I think it's going to make the January window also kind of like very important because back in the days we've seen some great signings, man. In January, I think Vidic came in January. The likes
Ever
of
as well.
Torres came in January as well. But of late, like right now, it does seem as if the January transfer window is just dead, man. Just for like, man, you don't just get into it. It's not important. But maybe if the window gets shut in time in August, then it makes the January window very, 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 very important. Like you said, Man City, I definitely think maybe right now is the time where they want to splash around 100 million on Bruno Guimaraes. All I've seen an article that said they are talking about they want to bring back Calvin Phillips as well. I don't know, but I think right now is that time they need to, because yesterday definitely showcased, man. City don't want to play, just play with that Rodri, man. This season, the way they played yesterday, those guys were defending for their life. Did you guys see the last 10 minutes against Newcastle? It was as if I was watching Arsenal playing Man City. The same exact thing. Like you had Ireland as well, like inside defending. So honestly, they do not want to play that way throughout the end of the season, because yes, as much as at first we were like, no man, they will still survive without him. Man, that game yesterday, honestly, they will not, and they need to do something about that position, because City might end up not even being in the top 3, maybe top. They'll be talking about top 4. Honestly, with what I said yesterday, honestly, man. So I think it's going to be a good thing for. I think it makes sense if it's the top 5 league. Makes sense.
He's a Man United fan wearing a blue hat talking about City in that way. Just but big up to him. I mean, so I mean, it's an interesting. He tends to interesting. A bigger win. They might get some more business done. Stephanie's also saying here, she's thinking that if players show bad discipline both on and off the pitch, windows always being removing the problem of players. Managers could be sacked at any time, so why not players?
Yeah,
and that's interesting. I didn't think about it.
I think the harmony of keeping the transfer window open. I've had thoughts about that. Like, why is the transfer open? Not like being American. Watching the NBA, for instance, you could trade. There's trade deadlines and things of that nature. You could trade players over a certain amount of period, but it's a longer period of time. And then there's several periods throughout the season. Would it benefit football to have an open transfer window, maybe at certain periods of the season? So you have the summer that goes to August, and you have January. Then maybe you have like March or something like that. I think it would hurt football, because your problem is the problem is you can have problem players, but you could also, that's what we have the reserves for. You know what I mean? We saw Sergio go to the mountains. You know what I mean? Like, so if it's bad and you just send them out to the reserves or send them away if it's affecting the squad. I think to open the door to being able to make more or multiple transfers throughout a season, that may be a problem. I do think that it would benefit all leagues that if you had like season-ending injuries, that you have like one special dispensation transfer. But maybe like the regulations on that, there has to be like a free transfer or something, like a player who doesn't already have a club or something. But that's what you have your youth system for as well. Like City, no one's crying for City right now. The reality is you spent all this money, you have youth players. Just bring one of them up. And that is what it is. And same thing if it was United, I'd say the same thing. If God forbid, if it happened to Gante, I'm like, well, Toby Collier has to step up. That's just the way it goes.
We've been playing without a left back for 2 years now.
This is it. Exactly.
Fact.
Patricia is saying the coach should be crafting a playing strategy to produce a good style of play now that the players are in good shape, but ETH can only come up with excuses. We're talking about the transfer window.
It's too early in the morning for that.
Straight. I think getting straight. For no reason. She's like, no, I'm attacking ETH.
It's too early in the afternoon for this, man. The game ain't even started. It's like it's too early. Just sending shots out of nowhere.
We're not doing this today. We're getting this done.
I'm happy. Like, things are happening. I am very happy, because the fan base is turning little by little, and I'm just here like, yes, there we go.
You want Eric out?
Oh, I've been one Eric out. I've been one Eric out. since
Wow.
last year.
Wow.
Eric.
That's okay.
You know what I mean? So
The
he
game,
well,
back to the game, man. Let's leave. Back to the game, man. Let's leave
so
EAT out.
Yeah, yeah. Let's leave ET for another day.
what I can right, whether you want the manager in or you want manager out or you're in doubt still, you're well within your rights to have those opinions, guys, because at the end of the day,
Yeah.
everybody see football different and it's based on opinions. You know what I mean? So
Yes.
for me, I think a bit just the manager is the reason why we're playing terribly. I think that's coming. You know what I mean? And after 10 years of disrepute, bro, it's not going to fix in 3. Let me just put it like that. I was thinking more like 4 years and we start back competing on a consistent basis, scoring goals. For me, it was always 4 years. I don't know about other people, but I think
Omar
he's a
Barada
victim of the
said.
first season.
I think Omar Barada said that they want United to be challenging by the 2028 in an article the other day.
By winning the league, like man, that's a big statement, man. Honestly,
Yeah.
that's a big statement.
I just for me, not to get on to Ericsson Hall, because I'll tell you guys straight up, when Ollie went and then Ragnick went, I was like, look, there's only one man for the job. He's at Ajax. Go get him. And I still believe that today. I just think that we as United fans. Yeah, go ahead.
Zeke, you know what is this, man?
Don't worry about him, no Zeke.
No, wait.
Continue.
Zeke, wait.
No, let him continue and then go, because you know what I'm going to say to that, right?
I was one person that actually believed that Ten Hag can actually do it at first. Honestly, I watched the Champions League and I saw what he did with Ajax against Madrid, and I was looking at what Manchester United were going through at that moment in time. So I was like, no, man, it doesn't matter. I see this guy can do the job, man. And I was saying it based on the performances United had under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and the season Ten Hag had, But I won't lie to you, man. That guy is not it, man. That guy is the guy before the guy. Honestly, but that's one.
I hear it. I hear it. I think you know what it is. You know what it is, and I know this is not necessarily like a Ten Hag like live, but since it's come up, I think we have to look at a couple factors. One, Fergie left us high and dry. That a lot of United fans don't like to admit that, but that was an aging squad that needed revamping, needed rebuilding. The next man, you don't want to be the guy after the guy. You don't want to be David Moyes, because that was always going to be a tough job. Every manager that came in had a different style, bought different types of players. I always look back to ID. If you look at Paul Pogba coming in under Jose Mourinho, those two don't match. When has Jose Mourinho played expensive, beautiful football? That's what Paul Pogba is. So why would you buy Paul Pogba? Matic made sense because that's the style of player that would play under Jose Mourinho. Then you look at
I don't think he wants him actually.
Well, this is the thing. But what I'm saying is that
Zeke, the thing is that, like I say, like the previous regime, John Murtel, what's his name? Those guys were buying players to improve the team.
But they were also, you would agree that they were out of their depth.
They were buying them for the commercial value and what it brings to the team, not for what they offer on the pitch. And I can understand that, And with me, I don't blame Ten Hag, but the reason why sometimes I kind of like want to say, okay, this guy, I want to assess him right now, is the fact that I can give excuse to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer that the players he wanted, he wasn't giving. He was giving players he never wanted. I can give excuse to Jose Mourinho that I know, okay, he wanted this kind of a player. They give him this kind of a player because they believed commercial value, this guy is up there, not on what he deserves on the pitch. But listen to me right now. Ten Hag, before Ten Hag got the job, Rafni came outside and said everything.
Open heart surgery. I remember.
Everything that's happened indicates that guy was actually right. And it was a disappointment they let that guy go. Honestly. I'm not saying, because people, they made it feel as if that Rafnik was not a good coach. They made it seem as if that guy was like terrible manager. But yet again, when you look at what that guy have been able to do with Austria, we know where Austria was before he got to Austria. We know what they were playing before he got to Austria. Now, coming to Ten Hag, This is why I would assess him being an outsider, or let me just say being a Madrid fan, whereby I
Yeah,
Who
give
had the
yeah,
same
also
structure
nice.
for 2
very high,
years, right?
very high.
Just
You
saying.
understand? You see the way you and I am right now. I've not lost a game since January.
Mhm.
But right now, when you come to my stream, you see me ranting because it is that energy, like we've been Madrid, we're a big team. So
Mhm.
sometimes when I look at the whole thing, I'll be like, look at Ten Hag, I'm like, Ten Hag, you are the first manager since Alex Ferguson went by. Players that have deemed not good enough have been sold,
Yeah.
and they've brought quality into the team. The
That
thing
only
is, I'm
happened
not
this
saying,
season, though. So
I'm not
Temba,
saying,
you're kind of going a little bit off there because
Mark,
he didn't
just
get that
wait,
until this season.
Mark, wait.
Let me be
We just saw
real.
Enzo Maresca came in from
Forget
where?
Maresca, bro.
From,
Because
no, I'm using like,
no, bro. Enzo
wait,
Maresca. Listen,
Mark,
wait. Hold on. Don't tell me a manager inherit a 40-man squad. A
Yeah, it's a
40-man
different
squad, King.
different
You
circumstances.
compare
Different
with a
circumstances.
manager who inherited the
okay,
worst
wait.
Man United squad in
Okay.
history.
This is the
Huh?
problem,
And
man.
they had the
Like,
worst
Worst
structure
United
in
squad in
history for
history.
2 years.
okay,
Worst United squad in history.
Mark,
I
I
mean,
like this.
Rashford was
This one not
starting for the
saying
squad,
nothing.
so it was the worst squad in
Mark,
history, bro. They
Mark,
blame Ronaldo,
Mark,
who was the top scorer. Come on, let's be real.
Mark, I want to ask you something right now. You said he inherited the worst structure. Mourinho also had the worst structure. All they're gonna say they also had the worst structure.
How many years
Uh-huh.
Mourinho had?
Sometimes
Just
when
wait,
I'm
hold on.
talking here,
Answer me this. How
I'm
many
just trying
years
to just
Mourinho had?
Mourinho. Do you
Yeah, how
think
many
if
years?
Mourinho,
No, hold
if
on.
you
How
guys
many years?
at
2.5, I believe.
it was 2
Right. How
at
much
Two and a
United
half.
years?
now.
How much years Oli had? 3.5 or 4, right?
No,
4.5.
no,
2
no,
years.
no, no, no.
Ali had
2 years, two
Ali
and a
had
half
two and a half.
years.
Bro, Oli
Ali had
had
two and
a
a half.
half season,
Yeah,
and then he
So
had 3
2.5.
years.
Yeah.
No, he
Okay,
didn't
so
have 3
actually
years. It was
3.5.
2.5. He didn't have to. He didn't have 3 years.
Bro,
Mark,
he
No,
was
he's right.
he was
Wait. He's
interim
right.
for a
He's right.
year and
He's
a
right.
half, bro,
He's
and then he
right. He's
got
right.
2-year contract.
He came in December or just before
Yes.
December. So that's half the season. Then he's had 2 years. So he's had technically 3 years to kind of get it right.
Right?
yeah,
Then
because
Ragnick come
Mark,
in as the DOF.
Interim. Yeah.
And then they make him interim while they was searching for a manager. Right?
Yeah.
Now, cool to that. Now, I'm not saying Ten Hag is the be all and end all. But I'm saying, let me do revise history, bro. Because the man had the same structure that all them fellas had for these first 2 seasons. And in his first season, he still played 2 cup finals when most of them fellas didn't do. And he come third. Just so wait. Hold on. Remember, the season before, that same squad barely finished 6th.
Mark loved defending the
I
manager,
just want
so
to
he will keep
establish that.
But
defending.
wait. Let's be fair to what Mark is saying. The reality is that
I understand.
What's football about? What's football about? Football's about winning trophies. Regardless of what anybody thinks, it's results business. So if a manager comes in and in his first season he goes and wins the Carabao Cup, which none of us are going to hail as a huge trophy, but then he goes in the second season, finishes 8th, and wins the FA Cup, he's saved his job with that trophy.
Zeke, you know what is this, man?
Yeah, Zeke, you're 100% correct because he saved his job.
Eric Ten Hag have been a manager whereby he has been backed. When I'm saying
you only been back this season, brother.
Wait,
Stop
Mark.
trying to
Mark, don't make me. Mark, do not make me start because I got the secret card here.
Let me let
I got the secret Uno reverse here.
When I talk,
I got the Uno reverse.
So let Bailey talk, and then we'll go on. Bailey,
I got the Uno reverse.
Just now, hold on,
guys.
Bailey,
Mark,
we talked about a European-wide synchronization on the transfer window that they're possibly going to enable in 2025. What's your thoughts on that? If all the top 5 clubs agree, and well, you hear us talking about Ten Hag.
Okay, yeah, I'm loving that because I think in the UK, other countries have an advantage with their transfer window. So if everybody is making their transfers, buying and selling at the same time, synchronizing, then I believe the process is equal and fair for everybody, and we're going to have fun. Man United is going to cook, as far as I'm concerned, with all things being on the table, because the way we're moving now, I'm loving it. We're bringing in good young players. We're bringing in players for good deals. And it just means that we might get them in a little quicker and they can enjoy the pre-season, because a lot of the times we sign players, they're not on the tour. It takes a while for them to bed in. And it's just, I don't really like that process. I like us to just go in there, bang, 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 bang. They're all on the tour. They're all bedded in. They're all knowing who's who. And we start the season properly. But it's like how we started the season now, we started it a bit slow. A lot of the players couldn't get into the team. I know the international break and stuff like that had a lot to do with it as well. That was also the thing. But hopefully in seasons to come, it will get streamlined and we'll see a better process as it pertains to bringing in players.
Yeah, big. And what your thoughts is on what we was talking about Ten Hag? Because I feel like, I mean, I don't think I'm making much excuses for Ten Hag. I think I'm being fair in saying that he, you know, if he was really backed, then the second year we would have seen progress. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I think the new structure that came in is where he finally was backed, because I believe now he has actually the power as a manager to sub, drop, start, promote who he wants in the starting 11. I don't think he had that 100% before. I
Let
think
me
he was
write
a little
this.
bit bogged down by contractual obligations and the previous structure. But that's just me.
All right. One thing that I will say for people who don't want the manager, right? I hear a lot of the things that you say, right? But the thing is, you guys, a lot of the time, run away from the facts that support the manager. You don't want to hear that. You only want to hear the facts that will not support the manager, which I feel if you're going to be somebody who wants your opinion to be held on that sort of level, on a high level, then you need to be a bit objective when it comes to the things that the guy has done wrong, as well as the things that the guy has done well. So as far as I'm concerned, right, when we talk about this season, to me, it feels like this season, the manager has now got the correct structure that he should have been working with all along. So when people say, oh, well, it's the season 3, it's the season 3, it's like people forget what happened when he first came in the door with the Ronaldos, with the Sanchos, with the Maguire, the captaincy, and all of this other stuff. Then in the second season, like we couldn't get certain. Even if I go back to the mistakes of the first season with the prices, how the prices of the players that stopped us from getting additional players, right? And then we go into the next season with the injuries and things like that. And then on top of that, they were still kind of buying players for fairly high prices compared to what you're seeing today. Now, in the third season, we get a new structure, a new direction. We've got all the people that proper football people, not accountants, running the club and making decisions. We've got proper football players, proper football people from the top of the structure to the bottom of the structure, making footballing decisions. So now people are like, but there's no excuse for anything. There's no excuse for anything now. He should be bopping teams off the park, even though a lot of these players weren't playing in pre-season. A lot of these players haven't even got any form of minutes for us
Come
or
back from
minutes in
injuries
their
as well.
legs, right? Coming back from injuries, all different types of things, right? So it's like, at what point do we want to have an objective view and give the thing the correct time for the process to start processing? It's like everybody just wants Man United to be challenging today, and it's like they want to skip the process. We came 8th last season. We came 8th. Yeah. So you got to take into consideration we came 8th. We had a lot of injuries. We brought in 6 players. A lot of this, the majority of them 6 players was not on the tour, didn't play really a lick of preseason. And now they come to a new country. We're slowly bedding these guys into the team, as well as trying to manage legacy players who, if like this season is actually critical for the likes of Marcus Rashford, Eriksen, Maguire. It's
Bruno.
critical for them, Bruno, because if they don't perform next season, I think they'll be getting moved on. I'm not gonna lie, because Ineos has already said you get 2 bad seasons. I think no, you get 1 bad season. You have another bad season, you're gone. So it's like now that the structure is here and the process is processing, I really think that we're going to actually see a Man United that is scary in the next 2 more. I'd probably say another 2 more transfer windows. And this is not my information, this is the club's information. So I think another 2 more transfer windows, and we can now start looking at our squad in the same light that you might look at City's squad, or you might look at Chelsea's squad, because we all know that these guys have 2 or 3 teams that they could just play. We don't really have that strength in depth in terms of our quality. So once we have that, and we know comfortably we can compete on all fronts, I think Jim Radcliffe said we shouldn't be outside the top 8 teams in Europe. So this is what we're aiming for. So I just think there's a process that's happening, and we should actually just look to see out that process rather than always looking for chaos with emotion. Because don't get me wrong, there's a fellow on the panel here, yeah. I can see that where his mentality is. His mentality is we must be winning the best trophies, and that is where I can agree with him. But he might not be the best leader for the rebuild. He might be the leader that you move on, you bring in once we've already started winning and once we've already started establishing who we are, and then he maintains the standards rather than being that person who's understanding, okay, we're rebuilding the club, because some people are not built for that. So you have to, there's different types of leadership, so you have to understand where you are, being realistic. But once you're already that powerhouse, that juggernaut, then maybe it's a different type of leader who's in place that's a bit more ruthless. Oh, you didn't do this right, you're gone. I'm bringing in someone else who can do that. And then that's probably what we need at that time, but we're not there yet. So everything's a process. Like,
I just think that with what you said, we there are things that I will, like you said, being objective. I'll play devil's advocate here. The truth is that you're right in a lot of the things you said, but then at the same time, there's no wrong in it. It's just that identity to me is very important, right? As a football supporter, fan, what have you, I am seeing Ange Postecoglou, who's our the guy we're going to be playing today, Spurs. I've seen him come in with a style established from day one, demanding what he needs from day one. I've seen Maresca, even though he's had 50,000 players, he's come in and you can clearly see identity in his style and what he wants to implement at the club. I've seen, obviously, I'm not going to talk about Pep, Klopp, because they were up here. They're clear. But you see Arteta, yeah, it took him some time, but he's established a style. Now, what I am seeing from United this season so far is that we're creating a lot of chances. We're more in control of games. We're facing a lot less shots on goal. So these are the things that we wanted to fix from last season. We were facing 20 shots a game last season or more. This season, it's down significantly. So well done to Ten Hag and the coaching staff. When you look at style of play, I'm starting to see a little bit more dominance in games, a little bit more fluidity in games in terms of the way that we're playing, the way we're passing the ball. Now your problem is scoring goals, because today you play Spurs, they're going to play a high line. I think the best front line for that high line will probably be Garnacho, Højlund, and Rashford. And when you play that high line, you want the pace in behind. You want United to be able to counterattack. The problem is once you get in the box, the ball's not going in the back of the net. You brought in Ruud van Nistelrooy. He's probably one of the greatest strikers to play football. The reality is you're not scoring goals. So these are things that, yes, you're going to blame the players, but Ten Hag's going to get a lot of the blame as well because he's under pressure. And when you are the Manchester United manager, you are going to be innately under pressure. Sir Alex Ferguson didn't win a trophy his first 4 years. He was under pressure. He was on the borderline of getting sacked. And then he won the FA Cup. And then he's won the league. And it looks good. So for me, yes, it is a process. For me, yes, it's important to give Ten Hag time to really get his, not only just get his feet under the table, but have transfer windows to bring in the right place. I think Mark is right. I'm not saying Ten Hag wasn't back the first season, second season, but this is the first time I've seen in a long time Manchester United actually buy players that might fit the manager's system and ideas. So that's truly being backed, because let's be honest. All right, cool. He's rated the Dutch league. He's rated, but most managers, when they want to get their feet under the table, are going to look back at home. Licha has been fantastic, except for the season where he was injured last season. Martinez, he's captain material. He's been fantastic, leader at the back. When we lost him, our whole system went down. Anthony was horrible. The horrible signing. Those things happen under every manager. You look at, people say Weghorst, but let's be fair. Weghorst is a loan. It was £4 million that we had. He needed a striker, and it worked for a period of time. If he'd have bought Weghorst, I'd have said this talent ID is a little bit crazy. But now this season, you're seeing Ugarte finally, a DM who's got legs, because we see Casemiro is losing the legs in midfield. You're seeing now that you're bringing in a center back like Matthias de Ligt, not to mention Liniaro. We haven't seen him because obviously he's got injured, but you brought in a young talent. You beat out Real Madrid because they didn't want to spend the money right now. They wanted him for free, which I understand is business, but you go and you get him. You like Mount came in, obviously he's been injured. I like Mason Mount personally, but he's been injured. These are things we have to look at and say, all right, cool, you're building something. And after 10 years or more of absolute trash, no one, I don't care who it is going to come into this club with the structure that we had previous and turn things around, turn things around in 3 years. You need time. And I think that it's important to give him time. Arteta's been at Arsenal, 5-6 years now? What was his finishes? 5, 8, 5th, 8th? Like, it happens. You need to build it. Now look at Arteta. He's built a team that can compete. He's built a team not only can compete, what was our favorite thing about Arsenal? They can't do the dirty work. They're soft. All these things we say against Arsenal. Now look at them. They're not soft. They can do the dirty work. They have the witchcraft now where they foul you, they kick the ball away. They don't care. And you need to give a manager time to build that. And I think that's what's happening now. Ten Hag might just be the guy that comes before the real guy. But I'm going to give him enough time to see if that happens. That's I think what's important for United fans is we can't breathe this culture of get rid of the manager when things are not working. Because once we start doing that, it goes south.
All this positive toxicity, toxicity, I'm not here for it.
Yeah,
I am not here for it.
Bro.
I understand what y'all saying, but for me, nah, this manager gotta go. Because
you want Deserve. You never win anything in his life, so.
Oh, wait, Mark, wait, hold on, wait a minute. You see, when people say this manager is not backed, I'm like, wait a minute, this man has been backed. He got every player he ever wanted. And he had the veto power. Who had veto power from those past managers? I don't care about them, but none of them have veto power. No. I'm saying when I talk, there's always some pressure mark when I'm saying something.
It seems like it is making it seem unreal. Because you know why, right? And I'm being honest with you.
Let him finish. Mark,
I understand.
When the truth comes out, you get interrupted. When the truth comes out, you get interrupted. My levels is to win the Premier League, and now you're telling me, okay, you won the Carabao Cup first season. Okay, cool.
But that's impossible.
He won the Carabao Cup first season. Good. He overachieved. For me, I already told him he overachieved by winning the Carabao Cup because that was not part of my expectation. So second year, you gave me 8th place in the FA Cup. I'm like, thank you for the FA Cup, but the 8th place though, it's kind of questionable. Like, what are we doing here? And when you say that, okay, injury crisis, saying not to play football because with those injury crisis, he won the FA Cup, did he not? Did he not win the FA Cup with the injury crisis? Did they give him a move on?
Martinez was back in this squad.
But still, with injury crisis, you're able to win the FA Cup, did you not?
But Luke Shaw
In
won the FA
injury
Cup, played the
crisis,
FA Cup
you're
final.
able to win. So he was still able to win games in injury crisis. That's what you're telling me. So year one,
Omo,
we are learning passing from the back. Year two, we are learning pressing. We are year three, we are learning chance creation. So year four, we should be learning how to score. Then again, we move on. See, my whole thing is the whole thing of this manager. This manager is not the end all be all. There are other managers out there that could do a better job. This man is not winning.
Not
I want to
Jose.
win the league, but I want to win the league. But this man doesn't want to give me the league. Why does he not want to give me the league? Because he's so focused on cups like FA Cup, Carabao Cup, Europa League. He's not gonna give me the league. I'm like, okay, cool. If you get the Europa League, I'm like, all right, cool. You're able to cheat your way into the Champions League. But how about that league though? Because he's so hyped about beating Man City. He's like, oh, I could beat Man City. I can beat Man City. How about the other 18 teams?
Do you
Man
think
City's not
Manchester
the only
United are
team. How
actually
about the other?
capable of winning the league?
No, I'm. He's capable of challenging.
Can
He's
I
capable
ask you
of
a question?
challenging.
Can
But
I
my
ask you
thing
a
is like,
question?
my thing
Can
is
I
can't
ask you a
Who is
if you
question?
can't
capable
win the
of
league, come
challenging?
second.
Wait, now let me ask
Challenge
you
for the
my
league.
question.
Do you know what challenge for the league is?
Relax. You're just talking. Relax. Can I ask you a question? When did the manager say he doesn't want to win the league? When?
By what I see on the pitch. What I
Oh,
see on the pitch
you are
tells
making
me he
that.
doesn't want
Okay,
to win the league.
what you take out
Because
from somebody?
again,
From somebody
this is why I
wait,
don't let
listen.
Go on.
What you take from what somebody says, right? It's on you. The manager never said he wants to win the league. The manager is actually you. Last season, I remember you correctly. I remember correctly when you said you want the manager to give you a style of play. You don't care if you win, you come at 8-6, whatever. You just want a pattern of play. And the manager should fix a few things and we will be good. Now, this season, the manager has actually started fixing those things. We are not scoring goals. You guys are making it look like, oh, we've been losing for the past 6 games, bro. The manager is now fixing some things. You are now moving this. You are not adjusting the goalposts to suit your narrative. I know you don't want the manager. You've said it. You said it. You fix your
And that's
marks
fine, by the way.
and that's okay. We apologize. We applaud you for that.
No. We can't go back. I can't change the goalposts. We can't go back to the style of play
Okay,
if you want to.
We are not okay. You're coming to tell grown-ass men and people in the chat that the manager doesn't want to win the league because you see it from, bro, that's fallacy. That's on you. That's what your agenda has made you come to realize. It's not fact. Don't make it sound like it's fact, bro. The manager
United can't win the league.
He wants to win at all costs. He wants to win at all costs. The manager has 4 chances to win trophy. 4. The Premier League, the Carabao Cup, the FA Cup, the Europa League. So 4 chances. When the manager says, I want to win, please do stop taking the fact that, oh, you're just focusing on the cups, bro. The Premier League is part of the cups as well. What happens if we go on a 15 games winning streak? What happens? They're up there with the title charge as well. So
then the manager proves me wrong.
But wait. As Bailey said as well, he said we're not like, and we have to be realistic here. We haven't been in like when Ali challenged, he was 20 points behind the champions, finished in second.
Yes, he was.
That's like finishing 8th. I'm sorry, like we were 20-something points behind City, like 30-something points behind City last season. You look at Jose Mourinho. He said his greatest achievement was finishing second, 22 points behind the eventual champions.
2 points.
Like you have to hold on. You have to understand. While I respect what you're saying, and I understand where you're coming from, we are nowhere near. And when I say nowhere near, let's just take our expectations and put them on the ground. We are nowhere near winning the Premier League. 38 games a season to win the Premier League. Look what it took Arteta to have to do. He bought Declan Rice for £100 million. You understand? To just get closer to City. City are so dominant that you have to buy £100 million players. Like when we're sitting here and we're talking about challenging for the league, I want to ask you this question, Omar. What is challenging for the league for you?
Challenging for the league for me is come like if you not win the league, come second place by 5 points, come third place by another 5 points, come fourth place by another 5 points. That's to me challenging for the league. Not like how Ole was like 20 places behind or Jose Mourinho 22 points. No. The number of points matter. The goal difference matter. All of that matter. And this manager's in his third year, and we're like, oh, but no, give him time. Like, give him time for what? This is the year of challenging. Year 3 is the year of challenge. And you're not challenging, you're wasting my time. And to me, this manager's wasting his time because he has gotten players. You cannot tell me he didn't get players. And then people say, oh, these toxic players, they're all gone. Who was the new toxic player? And if the toxic players are the pick that the manager choice of playing them. The manager choice of playing them. That's it.
I hear you. I hear your concern, right?
One thing
say,
I would say,
And when I say style of play, I'm like good style of play. This man's style of play ain't good enough. It's not good enough. I see it, but it's not good enough. Cause year 2, he didn't do that at all. Year 3,
Yeah,
he's
but this
finally found his
season,
style of. Wait. This year, that's what I said. This year, he's finally found his style of play, and I'm looking
okay.
at it like, okay, good is not good enough. It's good, but not good enough. Make it better. That's
yeah,
the
but
manager's job to make
see,
it better. If it doesn't
you're
make it
saying
better, I'm
it's
not going to look at the players. And
hold
when
on.
people,
okay, but
hold on,
But
wait a minute.
what's not good enough?
Wait
What's
a
not
minute.
good enough?
When people blame Bruno Fernandes for this or Marcus Rashford for this, I'm like, okay, why the manager constantly put them on the pitch? This is the thing. Like man management is part of it. In-game management is part of it, and this manager doesn't have it. I'm looking at all these flaws. I'm like, okay, red flag. Okay, this man gotta go. And you're like, oh no, give him time. Time for what? He's not gonna challenge. He's not gonna challenge this year. This year's a wash. Year 2 is a wash, and now we're waiting for year 4.
Why is he actually so bothers you so much that people want to give the manager time, right? You want him gone, but the bottom line is, and none of us have the power to do anything, right? Why does it bother you? Because that people want to give the manager time to see all those mistakes that we are talking about being corrected. You just want to cut it short right now, right? Which is your opinion, but other people are saying, okay, they are willing. So what's the border in there for you to say, okay, other people are willing to say, okay, let's see. It's just okay. It's just goals. Once we can get the goals, let's see where the next progression, the next phase of progression. Because right now it feels like we are lacking in goals. Defense is able to hold their own, right? The midfield is trying to move things around. You could see the attack is just where we need to just fine tune and get over the line in terms of goals, right? Maybe once we get over the line in terms of goals, we start the whole picture that they are trying to paint to us this season would not be right there. Instead of abstract, it's right literally in front of us. So why do you have problem in some people willing to say, okay, you know what, let's wait for that picture? If we've all said it here, that if it's not like we are blindly following this manager. A lot of people have said, no, we're not blindly following this manager. We just see that this manager is being backed for the first time under a structure that knows what to do. The fact that they bought Onana and Mason Mount, we all know that was the wrong type of signing. Right now, people that know football are behind this guy. We are saying, okay, if he doesn't cut it by, even some people have gone as far as say the end of the season. Some have said by December. Some have said 15 games. If he doesn't cut it, then okay. But at the moment, we are seeing, let's not kid ourselves, we are seeing a bit of progression from what we saw last season. And you want to cut it short, but you have a problem with people saying, oh, don't cut it short. So why? Because I know it's supposed to be a debate, but why are you saying, oh, you want to give the manager time? Bro, it's their prerogative if they want, it's their thing if they want to give the manager time. They see something you don't see. And whilst we understand your concern, you want to challenge for the league, but you're not going to challenge for the league after 6 games, bro. After 6 games, you're not going to be challenging for the league. We know how this thing works. West Ham were up there in the last season in the first 3 games, or even Aston Villa was up there last season in the first 10 games. Where did they end up? Let's not make it look like, oh, after 4 games you're winning the league, bro. We still have to play whoever we played now and to play next. We still have to play them in the second leg, bro. Let's not make it look like, oh, the league is ending today. Whilst I understand your desire to win, you as a fan to want to make sure that your team is playing at the highest level at all time. I get that, but let's not forget that 10 years of mismanagement cannot be corrected just by you switching turning on the switch off and on. If the manager is not good enough at the end of the day, bro, he's gonna get sacked. That's the bottom line. That's the inevitable. That's one thing that could happen. We all know that. But before that time, let's just, I'm not talking. Let's just see let's observe. This manager is doing something a little bit right. Let's just observe and let's just see, because we've all been crying clinical. We are not clinical. Let's see how they can fine-tune that and kick on from there. If after they fine-tune being clinical and we see that, okay, the midfield is crap, the defense is crap, then we can always say, okay, you know what? I think we're sacrificing something to get another thing. Maybe the whole package is not worth it. Let's go on. You can actually say, oh, okay, I bet I've seen this a long time. But people have seen it, but they just want to, they see something positive. Let's just hold on to it and see where it leads. You've come to the crossroad where you say, you know what? The positivity you're saying is false. And you guys should stop talking about toxic positivity. You guys do this negativity that is so toxic. But when somebody tries to hold on to something, but you guys say it's toxic positivity. We're all different, bro. We see things differently. We all have one goal. And the one goal is what unites us as a United fan. We all want this football club to be at the top. That's that. You can't take that away from anybody. Whether you are ETH out, ETH in, ETH out. That's the bottom line. We all want this club to be flying as high as it can. We are not saying this manager is the win all, be all, everything. No, we are just saying at the moment, we've craved for structure. The man's got 1 year to prove himself under this structure. If he doesn't cut it, bro, au revoir.
They'll get rid of him. They'll get rid of him.
So you want to wait to see like how everything goes? Listen, no problem. You can all wait. You can all wait. The ticket price of ETH out is gonna double by next week. The ticket price for ETH out will double by next week.
Can I ask you? Can I ask you a question? So really quickly, I'm gonna paint a picture for you. I want you to tell me what you think of this. If we let's say God forbid bad result today, and he goes, and they say we've had enough, he goes. You do know that means the next guy that comes in, right, whoever that may be, is going to have to start from scratch again. So based on the fact that he is starting from scratch because you got to understand, he might not like Marcus Rashford, he might not like Garnacho, he might not like Onana, he might not like De Ligt, he might not like. He might come in and say, you know what, these players are not for me. So in the summer, we get rid of them, we bring in the players I want, and then we start again. That's starting again. We are in a process now where it's gonna have ups and downs. It's not gonna be consistent. We're gonna win, we're gonna lose, we're gonna draw. You have to see things through so that you can know. The only reason I really want United's hierarchy now to see Ten Hag's situation through is because I don't want them to sack him when things could have just started getting good. You have to see process through.
Yeah, right. Because you remember, like after the FA Cup, they were like, oh, they were interviewing other managers for the job, and they didn't go with them because of whatever reason it was, money or ideas or plans and stuff like that. The 100%. New manager coming in, you have to coach. And no telling me you're gonna come in like, oh, I need player A, I need player B. Like, no, they're gonna have a certain plan. Like the structure's already here. The structure is buying you the players. Ethan Hall still has his veto power, by the way. The structure's gonna come in and say, yo, you gotta coach certain players. This player will be going, this player is coming in. And that's how the plan is gonna work. It's gonna be a two-way street. Ethan Hall has had power all this whole time. This is the first year structure has come in. First 2 years, he did whatever he wanted to do. Year 3, which you are now, the game structure, the ball players for him. I said, okay, cool, make this work. These are good players. And this player,
right now, I can't hear you say finish that statement. Sorry.
And before when I look at these players, I'm like, oh, this is the best player for HL. This is HL veto. I'm like, wait a minute, it doesn't work like that. These players seem like this is the player they bought this year. They could work for any other manager. It's not this players this year.
This question is to you, Omo.
I'm not too biased. Like I'm trying to be balanced, but you won't let me be balanced. So you try to go other side and be extreme.
Yeah, more on this, right? There's no need to mention the manager's veto, bro.
Let me ask this question before.
That's not. Hold on, wait. There's no need to mention the manager's veto, brother, because everybody know.
But it exists, though. You just want to brush it under the rug, though. It was for the first 2 years.
Hold on,
Omo, did you trust the previous
world where the reality of the world do exist when it comes to people's opinions sometimes now, right? Because what I'm really trying to understand is in what reality has Man United ever since Alex Ferguson not buy their own players based on what the fellas in charge wanted to do?
Does Etihad has a veto power, yes or no?
Bro, he not writing checks. I want you to hear
Mark, does Etihad has a veto power?
Not write the checks. And
you're not answering my question. Does Etihad has a veto power?
The man who was deciding the players coming in was a Glazer, brother.
Does Etihad has a veto power?
He had veto power the first 2 seasons.
Even if
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Oh gosh, bro, we living in a real world. We're not living in the theoretical world that if you write down on a pen and paper that I am boss, but it have a man who own the company, the major investor is the one who own the company. If you're the CEO, you're not the boss. But by definition, you are everybody's boss who working underneath you. You understand what I'm saying? It's the same thing that veto work, bro. And I'm not trying to be difficult, bro, but the reality is the veto work just like that. If the man above him who signing checks say no, it was no. The end. And you and I cannot determine whether he was told no or told yes for everything. We don't know that, brother. And the media don't even know that either. So we could sit here and argue about those little details, bro, because here what? It makes sense. But I would tell you this, as long as Pep Guardiola and Arteta signed more than 37 players each in the time they was at the clubs, don't come at my manager with that kind of nonsense, bro. Because 9 years ago, to sign a player like Erling Haaland, or let me say $100 million Jack Grealish, would have cost you 40 million, bro. So the only reason them clubs like Liverpool and City spend less money is because at the time and inflation 10 years ago, brother. Because if he bought 54 signings with this inflation right now, they would be clear 2 billion, king, right? So maths work one way, finances work another way. Football is a whole next thing. When you want to marry finances with the coaching and all these things, do it for every manager, bro. Don't just do it for Ten Hag.
No, I don't care. I don't care about those teams. I don't support those teams.
It's so real to you, bro.
I don't support those teams. I don't do United. I don't care about the rest of those teams. I don't care.
But when you want to
You can talk about them what you want. I don't care about them because when I talk about United, you can talk about those other teams. That's on you. I'll talk about United.
When you want to talk about Ten Hag, you always add that in. You always add about this manager and that manager. Even some of these managers are having new manager bounces, and then they start turning crap afterwards. But nobody wants that. But when you want to use it as a stick to beat Eric Ten Hag, you be using it. As an example, last season, Crystal Palace, they got a new manager, right? So then when that new manager now beat Ten Hag, everyone was like, yeah, and look at what Crystal Palace's manager's doing, even though he was on a good run of form. But we see him now,
Purple
and
patch.
we're not thinking that this guy is some beast that can come and now turn Old Trafford into a fortress. I'm not looking at him thinking that this should be the next manager. But last season, that was the talk. Everyone's better than him. Even look at the Crystal Palace manager. And it's just like, oh, right, you guys just relax. I know you want something so bad, but that doesn't mean you have to say anything in order for it to happen. Another thing is, there's more and more fans that Eric Ten Hag out, probably more than any point since he's been here, which obviously is going to make certain people happy. But you have to understand, bro, it's not about the influence, because you're influencing people to be out, It should be more about the facts of the matter and having a more balanced opinion, When I wanted Ollie out, I gave that guy every chance possible to the point where I was like, you know what? I can't see how things are going to work out. I can't see it. With Eric Ten Hag, I'm not going to lie to you, bro. I see that there's a light there. I don't think that the light is dimmed. This guy beat Man City in the final. And I know some people want to take the credit away from Eric Ten Hag and say that City was drunk and all of this. Let's just
I don't care how they was. We beat them.
Let me finish. Let's just put a pause on City being drunk and whatnot. Pep Guardiola has only lost 2 finals in his whole career. One of them was to Eric Ten Hag. And in the fashion that he got battered in that final, bruv, that made me proud, When I see the most legendary manager I've ever seen in my life go toe-to-toe with Pep Guardiola and lose all the finals, bruv. He didn't just lose the finals by accident. He got battered in all the finals. And as far as I'm concerned, there's something there, He doesn't really want all those players that are there, but he used players that can't really play his football to 100% to actually get a tune out of them in a final that nobody expected them to win. So as far as I'm concerned, if we carry on giving this manager what he needs to get to bring us back, I'm confident that once we have that certified solid team, we won't only just win the league, but we'll be able to dominate. Unlike the way that Liverpool did when they had their certified team. Because when I go back to the Liverpool team that Klopp had, all I was hearing is that we have the best centre-back, we have the best wingers, we have the best midfielders, we have the best goalkeeper. But you only won 1 title. No disrespect to them, but they only won one title. If this manager, on his own trajectory of what I've seen in terms of he just likes to win, yeah. If he gets what he wants, all I can see is title. That's what I see. So this is why it's very, very important that
What title do you see?
I see titles, my friend. I see
Which one now? Which one? You gotta be specific. You gotta be specific because I care about EPL.
I see English Premier League titles.
There we go.
That's
there
what
we
I see.
go.
But that takes
and I'm
time.
not stuttering. I'm saying it with my chest. I believe he will win the title. That's what I believe. But we have to follow the process.
This should be this is recorded, so we can see. We can see when this time comes. Well, under this manager.
I love
Drex,
it.
what's your question? Your mic is muted.
Why do you have a problem with the manager? Two questions actually. Why do you have a problem with the manager having veto power in his 2 seasons? Another question, follow-up question. Did you for once trust the previous regime?
That first question, why do I have to? Because this is the manager that's been backed the most out of post Fergie. Post Fergie, the most backed manager. That's one, and because his veto power, he could influence on transfer that come in. He has influenced transfer that come in. Number two, previous regime. No, I don't trust the previous regime. But then again, other managers have been under those previous regime. Only won nothing. Louis van Gaal won the FA Cup, sacked in 3 years. Jose won. Was the Carabao Cup in FA and Europa League? I'm not sure. Europa is something.
Yeah. Europa
is something. I'm not sure. Europa is something. He won that in the previous regime. How come? And he got sacked. How come this manager he got 8th place, the worst position of all, and because he won the FA Cup? Because he won the FA Cup. Oh, he's allowed to say.
And get sacked, bro.
There's a difference. Jose, hold on. Almost Jose got sacked. Jose didn't get sacked because of results. Jose got sacked because things he was saying in the media and how he was.
Yeah, but he still got. That's saying he got sacked in previous regime.
And hold on. And you're right, but I want to add, managers. I'm sorry. Like, listen, I'm with Bailey. I wanted Ali to do well because he's a legend of the club, but the players sacked Ali. Like we've watched players down tools for the last 10 years. Ben Howe got sacked because of those players. Moyes got sacked. If you want to go watch, I remember Everett talking about it. Rooney's talked about it. Rios talked about it. They down tools. They didn't like the guy. They didn't like his
Moyes. Moyes got sacked. But they didn't.
That's what I'm saying.
On
Jose was down tools, bro. Ali was definitely down tools. Remember the Watford game?
No, all the tactics was just wrong. It's been wrong throughout. He didn't want to change nothing.
Hold on.
He didn't change nothing. And the following window, they gave him players and he still didn't change anything. So that was the rest of the disaster.
Wait. First of all, Ali asked for Erling Haaland when Erling Haaland was actually. First of all, Ali told United to sign Erling Haaland when he had him at Molde. United didn't do it. They told him to sign when he was at Salzburg, whatever. Didn't do it.
They said no as well.
Right. So that's a manager who's trying to change the style. Ali openly admitted in an interview that the reason why he brought in Varane, Ronaldo, and Sancho is because he felt like the team needed to take a step away from just being a counterattack team and turn into a team that could control games. And it didn't work because those players started down tools. Look at Marcus Rashford. The first season Erik ten Hag came in, 30 goals, no problem. Last season, 8 goals. And not only 8 goals, but no energy on the pitch, didn't take anyone on, wasn't direct, wasn't the player that we know he can be. Okay, so when I say players are down in tools, I remember at Newcastle last season where Rashford lost the ball to Livramento and jogged while Newcastle went on to score a goal. That's downing tools. Those are players who down tools. Now, I personally would have sold Marcus Rashford by now, but I understand that might be difficult and the club don't see any value in doing that. But the reality still becomes that a manager trains throughout the week. He tells them to do what they need to do on the pitch. This is the information. Come Saturday, Sunday, whatever, they step across that white line. He can no longer, except for subs, affect the game. Changing things tactically, if players do not have the mindset, he can no longer affect the game. No manager on the planet, as far as I'm concerned at least, or I'd like to believe, goes on the training pitch and tells players to miss 5-yard passes. No manager goes on the pitch and tells players not to press. So when we blame managers, that's fine. I understand because the style can be a problem. However, when players do not do what they're being asked to do, we have to put a 50-50 blame. And when we look at Manchester United players, they are notorious in the last 10 years for downing tools.
Facts.
It's just a
Who are these
fact.
players? Because when people say, "Oh,
Marcus
these players are down
Rashford,
too," who are
bro.
these players?
Let the
Marcus
man
So
Rashford and
talk.
so
who?
so
Wait,
so
wait, wait,
so
hold
wait,
on.
wait,
Marcus
I'll
Rashford
answer
and
your
who?
question. I answer your
Because there
question.
are lists of
So
players that people always say, "Who are these players?"
let me answer your question. It's quite simple. I'll even go to most recently. Let's look at 20's game. I was on March stream for the 20 game when we were talking about the preview, and we were all very confident we beat them. We were all very confident that we beat them, right? All right, cool. How
Okay.
did let me ask you this question, and I'll answer your question and make and give you the list as well. How did we concede that goal? Because if you look at what happened, who lost the
The
ball
right back,
originally?
ran past Rashford, Bruno
Who?
Fernandes,
Okay, so that
Ericsson,
wait. So
Licha.
let's go in
Wait.
stages. Let's go in
There's a
stages.
list
Let's go in
going on.
stages. Hold on.
Licha.
Let's go in
Oh,
stages
okay.
because I don't want to skip. I
I'm
don't want to
going by
skip.
order because I remember that.
Right, no, I
Yeah,
get,
but
I get it, but I don't want to. I
you're
don't want to.
fighting a battle here that you go and take.
I don't want to skip. I don't want to
Right?
skip important things. The right back robs Rashford of the ball. Right.
Yes.
Rashford then turns around and grabs at him one time. Now, I just want to draw parallels just so we can keep on task. If that's a City player, if that's an Arsenal player, if that's a Liverpool player, once you lost the ball there, if I can't get back at you, I'm dragging your shirts so the referee can stop so you don't counterattack. Marcus Rashford
Yes.
lets that player go past him, right?
Red flag
Doesn't then
one.
jogs, doesn't try to do anything. I don't even want to talk about the rest of the guys, and the reason being, and you're
Because
no,
they all matter. You can't just be
hear
skipping
me
them.
out, hear me out, because those guys are not on my personal list. I just want to be clear. Once he's gone past Rashford on my list, that's a problem because Rashford doesn't do anything to stop him, right? The rest of the guys are not on my list. When he gets to, please somebody explain to me why Harry Maguire came from the right center back position, ran over to the left center back position, and dived into a tackle that wasn't needed to be made. And he's on my list. These are players who are either not good enough or down tools at vital points or lack the IQ to take the team to the next step.
100%.
And that is a fact.
I
You
agree
look
with you.
hold on.
This is why we can't get rid of Ten Hag.
And this is
why.
exactly so this is the argument that I'm having. Now we see Ugarte. We saw last season, first season with Casemiro, brilliant, scored goals. It was he just was great all across the board. Second season, lost his legs, makes mistakes, gives the ball away against Liverpool this season, gives the ball away, erratic. This is a guy who's won 5 Champions Leagues. This is a guy, this is one of the best DMs in the world at one point, and he's erratically giving away the ball, losing the ball. We know that doesn't mean that his talent, that he's trash. What we're saying is that mentally and physically, he's not able to keep up anymore, so he needs to go. And this is why the new regime, when we look at Rashford, we look at Maguire, we look at Lindelof, who's still in our squad and will play games this season, I'm sure. Luke Shaw, who's never fit. He's still in our squad and will probably play games this season. Players that we cannot depend on or players who have down tools in the past need to go before you can clearly judge a manager on his style of play, on the way that he enacts his tactics on the game, because there are players who who either lack the mental stability or the IQ to enact said tactics on the pitch. I'm not saying that Ten Hag is not at fault. I want to be clear. He is at fault for a lot of things that I've seen on the pitch at Manchester United. However, when you step across those white lines, you have to take accountability and responsibility. Rashford and the rest of the 11, everybody has to take accountability. And when you do not, this is where you see 20 scoring a goal. And that is why throwing the manager out is like throwing the baby out with the bathwater. You can't just throw the manager out and say, all right, cool, wait a minute, get rid of the manager because things are not working on the pitch. You still have 22 to 25 men that's here who are accountable. Regardless of whether he signed them or he didn't, they're accountable professionals. Cristiano Ronaldo was walking out of games he wasn't playing in. Our legend, the guy who was our legend, walked out of games he wasn't playing in because he didn't feel like he could contribute to the game in the way he wanted to. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer said to him when he signed, you'll play 2 games and you'll have the 3rd game off. That never happened. He played every single game. If you're going to be a professional, you have to have the mentality to be professional. Far be it for me to question Cristiano Ronaldo's professionalism. But when a manager asks you to come on with 5 minutes to go and you say no and walk off, you're not professional anymore. You're letting your ego go before the club. And a lot of players are like that. And it's not just Ten Hag, it's not on Ten Hag, but a lot of players got a lot of money. Sancho, too much too soon. Rashford, too much too soon. These guys on 300-400K a week. And they're not taking accountability. They're standing around, they're watching. Rashford's a mank. He's a mank. If anything, he should be captain of this club at this stage of his career. If anything, he should be taking the most responsibility. If anything, it should hurt him the most for United not to do well.
But he doesn't want the responsibility.
Exactly. And that's why I'm saying it's about leaders, captains. Roy Keane, players like Paul Scholes, these guys that I hate going back to the past because we're in the present. But these players went on the pitch, they took accountability. When people get mad at Bruno for throwing his hands up and getting annoyed and stuff, I'd rather see that than see guys moping around with their head down.
Exactly.
I'd rather see that, but we have too many mopers.
You see that? What you said is 100% correct, and I also go manager out because again, it goes with a tactical reason and selection reason, in-game management. If Bradford is not doing something, why is he constantly on the pitch? If Bruno Fernandes, if players are doing wrong things, why is manager not taking them off? And yet again, they'll start the next game. For me, you're rewarding bad behavior. If players are doing well, you end up taking them out. Now, Casemiro in his second year, why was he let go? Because he's busy running all over the pitch. First year when he came in, he wasn't running all over the pitch. So again, that to me showed that the manager tactical fault. As I said, first year we learned how to pass back. Second year we learned how to pressing. He didn't have less chicken pressing, and he left up exposed. This year he decided, okay, you know what? Let me tone down the pressing. And so far we toned down the pressing. There's a little bit more control in the game, and there's a little bit more control in the game. Now this man says he want to play with the ball. He wants the ball to feet and dominate. You cannot dominate with a player with Bruno Fernandes on the pitch. I'm looking on the pitch. I'm like, okay,
I actually 100% agree with that.
You want to dominate. Yeah, this man is constantly losing the ball. Then again, you put Casemiro. Like this is the funny part. There's Casemiro. You didn't use them correctly. Okay, now they bought him Ugarte. That's not his signing. Okay, cool. Because this is Windows is the bought player. They gave you Ugarte, and now I'm using this man correctly. Because now you want to use Ugarte to spread passes. His man cannot spread passes. He can never spread passes. But
I don't think that's what he's used for. But I understand what you're saying. I don't think it's that. But I understand.
Ugarte in his past was supposed to be Benfica and PSG. All this man does is win the ball and lay it up to somebody that knows what to do with the ball. That's he's good at winning the ball and lay it up. But the manager's not doing that with his play. He say he wants to spread passes. He already has a problem with what's the guy name? Wait, hold up. I forgot. He has a problem with a player. He has a problem with Lisandro Martinez. He has Lisandro Martinez problem. That's gonna show up eventually. It's not gonna show up right now. Right now, after it will show up eventually.
What problem is that?
It's gonna show up.
You mean like a disciplinary issue?
Oh, definitely. Give it 5 games. It's gonna show up. 5 games, it should show up. In 5 games to show up, guaranteed. Right, because I already seen his sport little by little since he went to Copa America in Argentina. My thing is when I look source of the pre, this I said year 3 is the year of chance creation. I'm not expecting no goals. Our goal difference is gonna be a negative by the end of the season because right now it's at a 0. This is the year we are learning how to create chance. You're gonna give us a whole year to create chances this year. We're gonna have the best chance creation. Cool, no problem. We'll take that. Where the goals coming from? We're not gonna score goals because again, like I said, we're learning how to create chances. Year 2 pressing, we're gonna forget that. We're gonna forget that because now, last year was a wash because now we don't know how to press anymore. The whole last year was pressing. Now we don't know how to press anymore.
Bro, you can't say those things, bro. You keep saying things based on.
I'm telling you what I said.
I understand what you're saying, but I understand what you're saying, Omo. But I don't think that you're being fair. I feel like pressing. Wait, let me explain.
I'm never gonna be fair to this manager. I put him at the highest. I put him at the utmost to be the best of the best, to compete with the best, and he doesn't want to give me that.
But guess what? You are more than entitled to that. I can't tell you anything different. And by the way, I want to be clear. I'm not trying to convince you of anything either. I'm just saying that you're not being fair in the sense of you're saying one season we learned how to press, this season we're not pressing, but we're learning how to chance creation. I understand where you're coming from. However, if you look at United's just heat map and position on the pitch, we're much higher up. We're much higher up than we were last season. We're engaged. Our line of engagement for the forward line. That's why he's doing the 4-2-4, where you get the midfielders to join into the attack so then they can press off the goal kick. Whether or not we're good at it, I will agree. Sometimes it's here and there. That I'll agree with you, but we are higher up the pitch. I think the other side of the point is chance creation. You're right. I think chance creations, we're going to have we have the highest chances missed already this season. So we might very well end the season with that. But Do I think we'll score goals going down the line? Of course we're going to score goals. Garnacho has scored goals already. Rashford has now scored a couple goals this season now as well. Xerxes, I think once he gets one, the confidence will be there, but he's getting all in the right positions. Rasmus Højlund, obviously, this is his second season, starting the season injured and now coming back in. So, but he scored 15 goals last season. He scored 15 goals. He scored 15 goals last season with being the least pass to striker in the league. So I understand your frustration because I have the same frustrations in some cases. However, the reality is things have improved this season versus last season only in a short amount of games. Like we're facing less shots, we're higher up the pitch, we're creating more chances. Yes, we're not scoring the goals, which is alarming because today you're facing the team that if you do not punish them, they will punish you. I do 100% agree with you, but you can't just I just want you to be able to have your negatives, and I'm not going to try and change those, but you also have to see the positives as well and what has actually changed. There are things that have been positive. There is more control in games. We're keeping more possession. There is a style now. There is something I can see and work with, but it's going to take time for it to fully be implemented in the way that it needs to be implemented, and maybe another transfer window. But I agree with you. There are things that I look at and I can pick the bones out of it and say, this is a problem, this is a problem, this is a problem. But there are also things I can look at and say, I'm proud of the fact that we have improved in these areas as well.
Do you know one thing I can also say is that for the first 2 seasons of Ten Hag, we actually never saw the style. I think in the first season, he tried to play the style, got battered, and then realized that this team couldn't play the style.
It's a counter-attacking transition team.
Yeah, so he had to try and adapt to what the team's strength was, whilst also trying to make changes behind the scenes. But the problem
I think that's mistake number 1.
Wait, hold on. You can say that, but then we would have carried on getting bad, and he would have been sacked, and he wouldn't have won anything, and he still wouldn't be here anyway. So one thing I'll say is that there are also players that he's actively tried to get rid of that have been down in tools. Yeah. And somehow we still have Harry Maguire, who's been holding on by the skin of his teeth. He's still at the club, but he still continues to down tools. We still got Marcus Rashford, who's still down in tools. Jadon Sancho, he's been down in tools. Yeah. And these guys ain't the only ones. We've got Casemiro that was down in tools. We also had Varane, who for a period was down in tools. Yeah, so we have a long list of players that need to go. And this is why I like the fact that we have a structure now. And I'm actually worried that if they get rid of the manager, a new manager will come in and now
start all over
before
again.
I get rid of anyone, let me see if Harry Maguire can play for me. Let me see if this guy and that guy can play for me. The problem is if they carry on giving these guys chances and they get new contracts, as soon as the contract is signed, we already know that they are going to carry on down in tools. Because now, these guys are playing for contracts now. They will play out of their skin and then down tools once it's signed. So what we need, guys, we need to refresh the squad. We need to refresh the squad so we can get players that are actually signing up to be loyal to the manager
and be hungry
cook for the manager, because there's players that don't want to cook nothing for the manager. Let's be 100%.
Real. Guys, I didn't want to end this stream. It's going so well, but I'm gonna let Irfan have a go. I'm gonna let Irfan have a say, and then we're gonna close the stream because we will be back for the watch along in literally 55 minutes, guys. So in an hour, we'll be back here live for the watch along. Hopefully, these guys will pop through. Some of them might come at halftime, some might be here for the entire show. So, guys, thank you, Zik. Big up to Don't Cry. It's just bantam, my body temper. Big up to Olmo for coming in, and thanks so much to Billy Tech. Billy, bro, you had to add me on WhatsApp, bro, so I could send you the links, bro, or either add me on WhatsApp or add me on Twitter, on X if you have Twitter now, bro. Because I have you on YouTube, but I can't actually send you the message, send you the link now on YouTube. Right? You hear my Billy Tech?
Thank you, Mark. Can I just say one thing, brother?
Your turn, brother. You go ahead, bro.
Yeah, just one thing I want to say, my friend. And to all the Reds, those who are passionate about football and about our team, that support the players, the managers, and we are just one family. Guys, my heart is red. And I can't wait for Etaha, Ugarte, who's been criticized, all those things that I've said now. I can't wait to see them prove them wrong. Have a blessed day. We're winning today.
Big up to you, Irfan. Big up to you. Guys, thanks so much for being here. Thank you so much for joining us today. We'll be back with the watch along, guys. And after the stream is finished, you could access the watch along if you want to smash an early like, leave some comments on your thoughts there, or you can leave it on this link. Big up to all of you guys. Thank you for coming. It's been your boy, Mark and MUFC fan with Bailey Tech, as well as Zik, Timber Banks, Drex, Irfan, as well as Almost Solo. And guys, more to come later on. Hope you guys have a great day. Big up to all of you. Catch you guys later on for the watch along.